Williams from Happy Hormones for Life, and today I'd like to show you how to make kale chips. They're one of my favourite snacks. They're salty and delicious, and if you haven't tried them yet, you're in for a treat. Firstly, get a bigger bag of organic kale if you can, and I'm just going to rinse these through. The first thing you need to do with kale is to get rid of the chewy, tough stalks. And so what I like to do is just rip, that one's alright actually, rip the leaves from the stalks so you don't get any of that middle chewy bit. I mean, the outer bits are fine. Kale is one of the most nutritiously dense vegetables that you can get. It's part of the cruciferous vegetable family, so the same as the broccoli and cauliflowers and Brussels sprouts, all those delicious veg that are really good for us. They're a really good family of vegetables for liver detoxification, especially detoxing excess estrogen, which can cause nasty hormone symptoms like PMS, mood swings, bloating. So getting a good portion of kale in every week is really going to help with that. It's also full of vitamin K, which is good for heart and bone health. It's got plenty of vitamin C in it as well, and also lots of minerals like calcium, magnesium and iron. It doesn't take too long. Once you've done that, you've got a lovely bowl full of kale leaves that we're going to add some delicious ingredients to. Okay, so the kale's ready for its lovely dressing. Now you could use olive oil as the oil base here, but I really like to use coconut oil. Coconut oil is really good for you. It's got lots of what they call medium chain triglycerides, which MCTs, which are go straight into your system and provide an instant source of energy, so they boost your metabolism. So using this would be a really good thing, and it tastes amazing as well. But first of all, it does come solid at room temperature, so we just need to melt a bit. I'm going to use a couple of tablespoons here, and we'll just let that melt. So that coconut oil is now melted, so we're just going to pour that in, and then we're going to add all our other ingredients. We've got lovely coconut oil in there. What we're next going to add, I'm going to add some seeds. This is Linwood's flaxseed, sunflower and pumpkin seed mix, so it's a lovely mix of seeds. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of this. Next, I'm going to add some cashew nuts, and I've used 3 tablespoons of cashew nuts, and I've just blitzed them in the food processor, or I've got a little mini chopper that I use to just make them really small. I'm just going to pour those in. That's cashew nuts, and they give a really nutty flavour. I'm going to add some nutritional yeast flakes. Not a very glamorous name, is it? Nutritional yeast flakes, but these are actually delicious. They're full of B vitamins, they're full of fibre and loads of antioxidants. And what they do is they mimic the taste of cheese, really. So you can use this as a cheese alternative, and it gives a really delicious flavour. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of this. And the next ingredient I'm going to use in this kale chip recipe is miso paste. Now, we've all heard of miso soup. This is a paste that's made of a Japanese fermented soybean, and it gives it a really lovely savoury, salty taste. Now, I'm not a big fan of commercial processed soy products, but this is made of fermented soy. It's a much better type of soy for you, and it can really help regulate estrogen levels. So if you've got too much estrogen, you get symptoms like PMS, you get risk of fibroids and even some breast and ovarian cancers. So miso can really help to regulate your estrogen levels, and it tastes really good as well. So I'm going to use a tablespoon of this in the dressing. I'm just going to pop that in, and we'll mix it together in a minute with our hands. Now we want some seasoning, so I'm using a bit of cayenne pepper for this, just a teaspoon, so I'm just going to put a little bit in there. Gives it a nice spice. A little bit of salt. Now this is pink Himalayan salt, which is unrefined, and it's much better for you than the table salt that we're all used to. It's got lots of minerals in it. A little bit of black pepper. And last ingredient is just a tablespoon of lemon juice, and this gives it a good zing. This is the fun part where you get your hands really dirty and you can give it a good old massage. So here we go. What happens when you start massaging the kale is that it starts to wilt slightly, so it takes on some of the oil and the salt and the flavours. Just a bit like spinach when you cook spinach. So it's a little bit of wilting, and then we can lay them out on the roasting trays. This is a great stress reliever if you ever come in from a bad day and you want to get your hands in and give it a good old massage. So what will happen is some of the miso tends to stick to the cashew nuts, and that's fine, because what you'll get when you roasted it is some big lumpy, chewy, salty goodies on the tray, and you can eat those just separately and they're really good. So we're almost there. Make sure all the kale leaves are coated and all your miso has dispersed. Okay, I think this is about ready to lay out on the trays. Probably halved in volume actually. I'm going to use a couple of trays because What you don't want is the leaves to lump together. So you want them to be nice and spread out, because they'll crisp up if they've got a little bit of space. So just spread them out nicely. You see what I mean about these big lumps of chewy, nutty miso. So, washing all that gunky mess off, I can now put them in an oven, and what you want is the lowest oven heat, because we're going to put them in for a little while. Now if you've got a dehydrator, that's perfect, but I haven't got one, so I just use the oven and it's fine. So I'm going to put these in 2 different trays, 2 different levels, and they'll take about 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how quickly they crisp up, and they're going to be delicious. And I did make some earlier for you, just to show you what they're like when they come out. And here they are. These are absolutely delicious. Spicy miso kale chips. Honestly, try them. They are so good. Really hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.